get it.
Because it takes a while for this to get going.
Oh, we gotta turn on Joe. Hello, Joe. Hello, Joe.
Shoot.
This is the final, Karen?
What's that?
This is the final here for the boundary agreement?
Yeah, but we don't have the map yet.
He's asking us to check it to make sure.
Yeah, I kind of tried to compare it to the ones that
You
we
can see
had.
the map.
Yeah, that's the only thing we need.
Yeah, there. I sent him an email, but I'm sure he's going to get that. But Tom wants it on so you can talk about it.
Carol, we don't have any maps with the VIN number on it, do we?
Not yet.
That's, or any other way to identify that document?
Just what he sent. This has the VNT numbers,
Yeah.
but I asked him for an actual map. So he's gonna. He didn't respond back, but they had that big economic development, and
Right.
so they were probably.
It'd be nice to be able to just check those off and follow the line there. Bill knows them all.
All right. Vernon Town Board of Supervisors meeting call to order August 16th, 2018, 6 p.m. All rise for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America
and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Chairman Thomas Byrd,
Present.
Supervisor Jeff Millies,
Present.
Supervisor Gary Wildy,
Present.
Supervisor Ed Moline,
Present.
Supervisor Bill Craig. Mr. Chairman, I'll note for the record that you do have a quorum of your town board present.
All right. Open meetings all compliance.
Mr. Chairman, the agenda was posted inside the Vernon Town Hall, inside and outside the Vernon Town Hall, to the businesses, to media, and on the Town of Vernon's website. You're in full compliance with the open meetings law.
Public comments. Are there any public comments? Any public comments? No public comments. Miscellaneous matters. Following matters to be discussed and possible action taken by the town board unless otherwise noted. Item A. Border agreement with the Village of McGuanago and border agreement map. Before you gentlemen, we have a list of names and addresses and VIN numbers, and as of this date, we do not have we have maps, but we do not have a map from Guanaco yet. So that is forthcoming. As you can see, these are broken down into 5-year, 10-year, 20-year, and 30-year. So, comments, gentlemen? Nope. Anything you wanted to comment on? Any of the we've had a couple weeks now to digest this and to look at it. We got a cleaned up one here on a border agreement, this yellow one.
Yeah.
For use to cross-reference if anything is in there. We can still probably, change up, or if you don't like wording or whatever like that, we can go to the village and whatever, but I'm kind of waiting for the map, like Eddie said, waiting for the map so we can kind of cross and make sure everything is where we want it, and then we'll set the date.
Yeah. There's
the,
nothing in our resolution.
Tonight.
When will we do it? Tonight?
Next board meeting, Mr.
Next
Chairman.
board meeting?
Yeah.
Mr. Chairman indicated that the next board meeting you would
Okay.
re-adopt. You adopted one and
We
two.
adopted one, but we
Yeah,
need
I
to
remember
re-adopt because it was last year.
Yeah, but it has to be updated. What would happen after that? Then we go to notice of public hearing?
Yes.
Yeah. If you read what the attorney says,
Yeah.
if the agreement is acceptable, the town board members, the final procedure for the adoption of the same will need to implement, including the adoption of a new resolution to take care of actually redo the resolution.
Okay.
And McGuanago is meeting tonight, and they sent us their resolution. Ours will
Right.
probably mirror that one, but I wanted to see first, let them go through their meeting, what they adopted, they put any changes in it, if their board goes through or whatever.
Good idea.
I didn't wanna adopt the same one at one time.
Yeah, good idea.
So, and then we'll need to, the joint public hearing
Yep.
needs to be noticed and scheduled.
Probably in Milwaukee, it's probably the best place, isn't it, to have a hearing, because they got a bigger room than we got.
Well, I don't know. This will be good. If we get, if, you know, the people, if it gets bigger, we can put it outside or whatever it is. Okay. How many is this whole man for?
100.
100?
I'm glad we're coming to a conclusion here.
You make them all standing if you were.
Well, you know.
Interesting article in Freedom about going under 10 steps. Did you see that?
Yeah, did you see the now section?
Yes.
I know this isn't an agenda item, but did you see the now section of their growth pattern and
Yeah.
Pretty significant.
that they really want that area down there, and I think this is a real good time to go after this for the town.
I read that and I thought this just fits exactly what we're trying to do.
Exactly.
They're more anxious to do this than we are, I think.
Yeah.
Well,
7,000 something.
it'll take care of their expansion for 30 years. And, you know, and then we know that they can't go any farther than that. It's done, you
Yeah.
know.
Yep.
They'll either have to go south or west.
Yep.
Yeah, there's room.
Okay.
On page 5, starting second paragraph, A and B.
Yellow sheet, Bill?
No, I'm on the actual agreement here.
Page 5?
This yellow.
Yeah. Which
Yeah,
one?
I'm looking on here.
Oh, the
I
typo?
had some notes to myself, so,
I saw that typo, Bill. Is that where it says 54?
yeah. Yeah, what I'm looking at is this petition for detachment that people will file. Just was question, is there such a document right now or not? This would be, there is no such thing.
I would think statutorily there would be one.
See, I'm on,
Which page are you on, Bill?
I'm looking at this white copy, intergovernmental cooperative plan under Wisconsin statute.
Page, what page, Bill?
Page 5, up near the top paragraphs A and B, it talks about people who want to get annexed into the village would file a petition for detachment. Just wondering if there is such a document right now.
I would think they would still all have to be within the area you agreed upon.
Yeah.
I would think,
I don't know, that was another question I had.
no, I think Chairman Byrd made that perfectly clear that the area that you discussed is the area and there's no further. So I would anticipate that, meaning that if there's a petition for detachment, maybe there's some significant reason in the 20-year phase would need to come in sooner.
That's
the only, because it's my
These are
understanding.
part of the trigger mechanism, Bill. If somebody wants to go sooner, remember we've got a trigger mechanism in there?
And I've gone through this a couple times and I can't really find where it pins down. Okay, the section for year 10 wants to annex in year 5, in the first 5 years, let's say. And they're right out in the middle of year 10 territory. How do we reach some kind of understanding of maintenance if the village says, yeah, we'll take you?
My question would be, why would the village
Why would the village take them? Because they're not gonna.
You don't have to take.
They're not gonna take them without any type of,
Nope.
I don't think they're gonna take them without any type of, sewer or water
Right.
utilities. If they're not ready for them,
No,
they can
whole
petition
team.
them all they want, but they don't have to take them.
Right,
And that's what it says in there. The village has to agree to take it.
right. Anytime prior to.
Just because they asked.
Then
Right.
5 years triggers it automatically.
That's part of the trigger mechanism, but the village still has to approve.
Yeah,
It gives them the option, but I don't think in the middle of a, we really don't have anything saying if it's not contiguous to existing property, it can't be, taken over, annexed out.
okay.
But wouldn't the state law kind of prohibit, even though we're writing the contract, things have to be contiguous to be annexed. So if it was in the middle of one of those squares, it's not contiguous to anything from McGonigal homes.
And the village of McGuanago doesn't work that way.
Yeah, they wouldn't want it.
They don't work that
But the
way.
state wouldn't allow it anyway, right?
In fact, when the village annexed the Krogstad property, like I said, to cross that river was a significant investment for the village, knowing that they're going through the river to supply those services to the
Yeah.
subdivisions in that area. That's something you could talk about at staff when John's there,
Yeah.
a clarification.
What number, did you read number B on page 3, Bill?
45 days.
Notwithstanding the foregoing schedule, the town agrees to detach each individual detachment parcel contingent upon the village agreement to attach each parcel. Request on the parcel of the owner of any individual detachment parcel to the village. Request for attachment must be signed by all owners of the relevant detachment parcel. Request for land divisions proposed for individual parcels, detachment parcels certified by certified map and accept as proven herein. Doesn't apply to the sale or exchange of the land. Doesn't apply to certified survey maps combining parcels. Doesn't apply to the redrawing of boundaries.
Yeah.
So we gotta sign off on it, and the village has to sign off on it, otherwise it doesn't happen. And then those people that are gonna be, if they wanna do a detachment, say it's in the 20-year parcel that's gonna go after 20 years, but it's only 10 years. If they want sewer and water, which I'm sure the village will want them, they'll have to pay to put the utility in, not the town, not the village. The
No,
individual person
That's the way it usually
or
works.
development will have to pay, right? And then everybody else can come off of it.
Yeah.
Like the guy with the cable.
Yeah.
So I think that's a pretty good built-in device to, we're not gonna go till you're ready to go, because we ain't gonna spend that money.
That's right.
I just wanted to be sure that somehow we wouldn't be part of a maintenance obligation.
I think we're very protected.
So we have to sign off, and the village has to sign off. So it says in there.
What if we put some simple wording into there, the Bill's note that says, no property can be annexed earlier than the scheduled dates unless it is.
This isn't an annexation, this isn't an annexation, this is a agreement.
Not boundary agreement. No property can be moved within the boundary agreement without being contiguous to the town of McGonigal. That way you can't jump in the middle of something. I don't know. if that's
Well,
necessary,
there's no
but-
developer in his right mind that in the 30-year parcels is gonna put a sewer line from McGonigal through everybody else's property and pay for it all himself.
McGuanago won't do that. They won't even,
No.
they won't consider that.
No, they would say no.
Yeah. This is set in a time frame situation, so it's gonna fall in just one after another, like dominoes.
It says it in 3A. The property owners are limited to what's been agreed upon by the town and the village on your schedule in B3. And it defines when
What page you on?
on page
3A.
3A defines when the borders change, and it's predicated by it explains it in B3, and then B3 defines it in B4. That on such and such a date and time, that's when the property exchanges from Vernon to the village of McGuanago.
Okay, that was my concern. I could not see where it was that clear that, because these goofy things happen, some developer picks up 150 acres in, let's say, phase 2, and does provide sewer in phase 1.
Then it just
And
goes,
we have-
if they provide sewer and they wanna go,
They don't,
we gotta sign off on it, McGuanago's gotta sign off on it.
The developer doesn't control that. You do.
Yeah, we do, and if they're putting sewer and McGuanago wants it, and McGuanago says it, that's part of the.
they would
There it
have to
goes.
accept all right-of-way, correct, road right-of-way within the area.
You and Tom corrected that right away.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Vernon's not paying for any improvements.
No.
Okay. I read this a number of times, I just keep kind of going in a circle.
okay.
Okay.
Anything else? Okay, so we've got a, waiting for there, we've got Karen gave that to her, at least there was one online, right, Karen?
What's
Did
that?
you give us what
The procedure in the yellow.
what the village is going to approve tonight.
Yes, it's in the attachment. That was the narrative on, letting you know that they were adopting their resolution this evening, and then you got this outline in the back was our resolution that we did in 17, and their resolution that they're going to do tonight.
Oh, that is the resolution you're gonna.
Yes.
Okay.
That is the resolution that they're gonna adopt. I don't know if there's gonna be any changes to it. That's why I didn't push it. I said, let's just, because we got a number, how many days is that in the statute that I put?
You mean after adopting the resolution?
30,
Yeah.
90.
60.
Yeah, 60 days, yeah.
And once you adopt, it's sent to all the neighboring communities. There's an outline of who the village will send their resolution to, who the town will send their resolution, so everybody knows what the village and the town are trying to accomplish.
All right. Okay, so I put that on as special just so we could talk about it like we did tonight. And the map is supposedly coming. We've got the VIN numbers and the
And the
names
property owners,
and the
yeah.
property owners. Now, we just gotta get that correlated to a map.
And Mr. Chairman did indicate as soon as that information was available, he did ask that go on the website right away for the public to
Right.
view also.
Any other comments, supervisors? Okay. Item B, invoice for emergency medical services for Mark Meridian. That would be Supervisor 2, not 3. Sorry, Ed.
Sorry, Ed.
What is?
This came to the board some time ago, and I thought Mr. Meridian would be here this evening, but
He's all right.
he's not, so I think we should proceed with making a determination of what so it's on the record exactly. So he has clarification in regard to what his position is and what he's responsible for. I think that's what we need to clarify tonight.
Well, according to the paperwork here, there was $1,125 was billed for ambulance.
Right.
Okay. And his insurance company paid $620.32. They didn't pay the whole thing. So he's questioning the $504.68. So that's what's in question.
Yeah.
So, Supervisor, you have any comments?
You want a motion?
Well, do you
What
have
was
any
the-
comments about anything, or?
What was the check for $68.83 you made out to the fire department for? Oh, you're lucky there too.
Even if he did, that if the fire department does get checks, because sometimes they come to us or the fire department, they're automatically sent to EMS Medical Services. Because if he paid anything to the Vernon Fire Department, they could not accept it.
No.
Checks. Looks like he got a check himself from his insurance company.
And typically that's what happens.
Oh, that one there, okay.
And then he's responsible for paying not he, but any resident, when they get, the insurance companies only pay a certain amount, and then after that, the resident is,
Responsible.
and he came under public comment, so you couldn't explain to him that there's a different charge for a resident versus someone that's not a resident.
Right.
And he wanted the public to know that the town of Vernon doesn't accept a consignment on insurance payments.
We accept assignment on Medicare because we have to. The government puts us in that position.
How can we look at every insurance policy and make those types? That's ridiculous.
It's on the resident,
You know,
isn't it?
it's his job if he buys insurance to understand what the policy's offering. We can't sit here and look at every single one and come up with a statement that says you're covered, you're not. That becomes his responsibility. And I don't think we can make any adjustment on this for him, because as the attorney says, do for one, you gotta do for all. I don't think we ought to start giving away the revenue from the fire department.
Well, I'm going to read what the attorney says here. Mr. Macy says, this is a policy decision. I am not aware of any community that has entered into agreements as requested by Mr. Murray. Now, what he means by agreements is that an agreement with his insurance company.
Yeah.
Right.
Which would be, I don't know who his insurance company
Anthem
was.
Blue Cross.
Anthem Blue Cross? Okay. Also keep in mind that though, that if a charge is made to the policy, any such action does set precedent. All right, so
We'd have to change the
we
policy.
have to negotiate with everyone's insurance company if we negotiate with this one, number one. Number two, I don't think it's the town's
We're not
job
responsible.
or responsibility to see what your insurance company is going to pay or not pay. And number three, our fees. I've been around here since 2005, in and out of committees, on the fire department, this, that, and everything. We've always had a fee schedule for the fire department that's posted. We work on that fee schedule several times a year to make sure that it's up to date and current, that we're not charging too much or charging too little. So I think we've done our due diligence. You know, I'm sad. He lost his wife. You know, that's a tragedy. But, you know, it is the bill that we charge every other person in the town. Those are my thoughts.
So he's asked us to make a decision whether we'll accept this payment up to date and forget the rest.
Yeah.
I'd make a motion that we cannot
Now,
accept that.
with standing with that, excuse, can I say one more thing, please? Sure. If, you know, we've made, it easier for people to pay some of the bills, we could work that out with them. You know, we don't wanna put somebody in hardship.
We told them that
for
night.
Yeah, and I wanna make that clear that we can do something like that.
Yeah, I have no problem with it whatsoever.
Yeah.
But he walked out and said, "You're not gonna see that money." I thought, well, I'd like to help you, but, you know, if we do it for one, we gotta do it for all, which is the way it works, sadly, but that's the way it works. And,
That's unfortunate, it feels that way.
I feel bad for him, but you can't make that exception without setting policy.
Right.
Then change policy.
So can I renew my motion?
Yes.
We're gonna have to deny his request for forgiveness of that money that's gotta be paid.
I'll second.
Any more discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Item C, town ownership of Dodges Corner Cemetery and granting an access easement to the property located at South 101. And there's another south, is that correct, Madam Clerk? South W.
Oh, I'm sorry, that should be a W.
Okay, let me start over on that. It's South 101 West 24830 Maple Avenue to Diane and Ryan Lynn. And this is requested to be put on the agenda by Ryan and Diane Lynn. Are they in the
The house
audience?
is owned by Ryan and Sherry Lynn. That was put on there by
You want to
some.
come up and
I will.
and speak,
I will.
please?
Sure.
Can you please give just your name and address?
Yeah,
Thank you.
no problem.
Otherwise, if you sit back there, the people at home will be
can't-
calling
you're on
Madam
TV
Clerk
right
and drive
now.
by, they can't hear what you're saying.
I'm good. So my name is Diane Lynn. My personal address is South 66 West 25850 Pheasant Court. And of course, that's in Waukesha's mailing, Waukesha, Wisconsin 53189.
Okay.
So the reason that we're all here is that my son and his wife have a house to sell. They have people who have put in and they want it, but we found out that we have to request a right to access that easement area, which is a small area of the driveway, which they've been doing since the house was built. This is the first time an easement was, but in order to satisfy the sale of the house, we have to have permission to use that easement. And without that permission, well, you can imagine if it was you. It's big trouble because they've already bought another house. So, what we really came for was to know whether you felt you could grant us the permission to use that easement. Now, if you need information to help you decide,
Absolutely.
we have information here. And I can either send him up here, we have our historian, or you can sit there and you can ask questions, but you'd like him up here, right? So people can.
Yeah, is there something written document or is it verbal?
Oh, we have paperwork.
Okay.
Well,
Yeah.
you guys have all, I'm Josh Peterson, not a town resident.
Yeah, Josh, you and I had a long conversation where I explained everything we needed to go through this,
Yes, how you doing this evening?
and pretty good. One of the things was give Karen that document you claimed you had that showed ownership of the property.
It was the state stature, which
Yes,
I had
you got it.
provided to. We had talked about that. and
It's in their
she
packet.
Read that off. It is in the packet.
Yeah.
The state statute doesn't.
No,
You said you had a document
Hold on.
up in the left corner.
I did provide this to her as well.
They have that.
Which is the 1811-605.
And what does that say?
Owner's name, Town of Vernon. That's,
That's what I'd like to
at
see.
a moment, we can bench that.
It's in your packet.
Ideally, my question is based on the state statute that you guys have, where do you guys stand as far as power of control, and what can you do for us, if anything?
Oh.
It's this.
Well, let me read to you what the attorney has said on this.
Okay.
It says, I cannot recommend that the town grant an easement until it is determined
Yeah.
that the town owns the cemetery land. So, you bringing documents, and you saying that these documents say we own it, we have to have some legal ease that determines that.
Okay, two things on that. Number one is, what is the interpretation then on your guys' behalf on the state statute?
The last page of
And
this.
if you guys need a moment, I'd be happy to wait for you guys to read it
The last
over,
page.
and
Turn it to-
especially the area of,
Oh, you want to go? No. No.
Here, can you pass this to Gary, please?
now, did you just print off the one section that's 157.115, parentheses 1, or parentheses C?
I just gave my copy to,
Oh, there's only a single copy?
no, they all have it. One board member, I don't know how many pages, it's like 4 pages of the state statute.
Okay, what we really want to pay attention to is 157.115, parentheses 1, or parentheses C.
Number B?
C. A parenthesis, or it's, would you like the number, is that what you said?
Yeah.
The number is, bear with me here one moment, 157.115,
Okay.
and then you'll have to look at C. So you have to travel down
Okay.
under a parentheses 1, but then you have to go down to a parentheses C. And that's wherever, in the cemetery, that's where it starts.
Hmm.
I think you want the cemetery.
Did you have any attorney look at this?
There's no cemetery authority for that cemetery, is there?
I don't know.
It was disbanded roughly in the 40s, it fell apart.
Yeah,
I don't know
Is there
that.
documentation on that?
It was petitioned by 6 people from the Presbyterian Church back in 1972, July 12th. It became
Do you
upon,
have that documentation?
it then became upon the board, and the board actually ignored it and passed over it, and they never even discussed that matter at that time. Your descendants asked Vernon to restore cemetery. This is what's
So the board never accepted the premise that that was to be turned over to the town?
correct. And what occurred was, is somewhere in, that was 72, somewhere in the 80s, it was brought up again, and in 93 approximately, it was then, which refers back to, let's see here, when it was a catalog burial site by the Historical Society, which, let's see here, Sterling Apex, ring a bell?
yeah.
That
Past chairman of
chairperson,
the town of Vernon.
yep, he's the one who signed this
Sterling
document.
Peck.
He signed this document back in 93,
Yeah.
and that's when Vernon jumped on board with going through their process as far as rehabbing and reconditioning the cemetery to start with. That's where the biggest efforts were applied then at that point.
Well, what do you want to do with this, gentlemen?
Well,
We had a staff meeting coming up, stuff at that time, with the attorney.
Well, it's still neat, to me, these are good starts, but the,
Excuse me.
do you, the second thing in this is, it was determined the town owns the cemetery land. Then we need a policy that says, well, we're willing to grant the easement. And then if the town decides to grant the easement, documents will need to be drafted. So who's gonna pay for the documents?
Well, refer to the statute, please.
Who's gonna pay for them? That's all I'm asking.
Well, what would it be if it was 2 neighbors sharing?
If it was what?
If it was 2 neighbors sharing, and one person asks the other person for an easement, and we had to get that drafted, who would pay for it?
Not the town.
No, I understand that. If it's
That's
two
what he's
neighbors,
asking.
if it's 2 known neighbors, I was asking for knowledge. If it's 2 known neighbors side by side, we would just go to the attorney, have them draft up paperwork, have our neighbor sign it, right?
Yeah.
So if we went to our attorney,
Why do you
have them
need
draft.
the easement?
Well, the problem is, long and short of it, the driveway is no longer on the property. To access our property, we need the easement placed to satisfy
Why
the
can't
bank
you
loan.
put the driveway on your property?
2 things. Number one, your DPW gentleman came out, looked at, viewed at it, and said that the only place, if this was a new house, or if this was a subdivision road, access road, the only place for it that's safe is in the location that it is in. Anywhere going down that hill makes it an unsafe viewing. It's double hill there. So it's a safety concern at that point.
I have a problem with that having been put in the first time without anybody working on getting an easement to do it.
Here's even more interesting. Back in 1867, half that driveway already existed. There's a plot map. This is just for fun's sake. You guys just want to take a peek at it for an interesting matter. Back in 1867, there was a roadway that passed through the middle of that property that accessed Dodge's Corners. That's how Dodge's Corners was assembled, by the 3 roads intersecting there. House was built in front of the property, which then later became his residence for cemetery, for family, etc. At that point, somewhere in approximately, I'm guessing about the 20s, that road was connected to Maple Avenue. Now, the farmer used to use it to travel around the top side and back, up and around. So that's essentially how that whole driveway became in existence. There's actually an overhead plot map or plot map and
How
aerial
many feet of
photos.
frontage do you have on Maple?
30 some odd.
Only 30 feet of frontage on Maple Avenue?
As far as going into the roadway, the property
No,
goes into the roadway.
the frontage of your lot
The
on
width
Maple
of,
Avenue.
the width of the lot.
Oh, the width, 100.
And somewhere's on that 100 feet, you can't put a
Let
20-foot
me finish the
driveway?
story, please. Okay, so it gets interesting. So, you know, in the 40s, there's an overhead aerial photo of it. And you can see the driveway used to come in like this, okay? Very interesting. Big Y. So that passed through the years. Somewhere approximately in 63 is the next aerial photo. The house appears in a picture. After that appears, you can watch Maple Avenue start to shift. And I had talked as well about finding DPW records. And what honestly looks like a pier here is that Maple Avenue shifted towards the home. At that point, they were no longer able, right now your main access point will be coming off center
Yeah.
and then going up and around. You know, or I should take that back. Originally, your main access point would have been coming off center and coming off with an easy flow around, and you could easily travel across when you had another 35 feet in front of you. But now, of what appears that has occurred, being that Maple has come closer to the home, you are no longer able to drive around the pipe anymore. So whenever at one point Maple seemed to have shifted, and I had talked to one of the farmers actually who has been running that property for years across the street. And he goes, yeah, he goes, I bet you that explains it. He goes, for the last, you know, how many years when they tilled up the property, they hit gravel on the far side, which then backs up the theory that essentially Maple has, back in from the 20s, 30s, and 40s when it was gravel, has slowly moved towards the home and have cut off access essentially to make that hard lot turn to go into the driveway versus before when it was a big wide Y and it was 30 feet, 40 feet longer than it was, you could drive around the corner of the leach bed.
So you've got a leach bed in front there.
That's correct. We discussed that earlier, or last board.
And that's why you can't put a driveway there.
No, the actual safety answer and concern is that you can't put it anyways. Regardless whether there's a monument or not, or anything sitting in front there, based on what the DPW gentleman had said, the safety concern,
Oh, I thought he
Is
said
there-
that there was room.
no. Can we pull up the old board meeting?
Do you guys remember him saying there was no room in that 100 feet to put a driveway in?
I think if you move the leach bed,
Yeah.
then there was room.
No, it's safety. That's what the question is.
How old is the
Did
leach
he
bed?
answer that?
How old is the leach bed?
Old as the home.
There's no record at the environmental resources.
Correct.
So the true reason is you don't want to drive over the leach bed.
Guess that depends what side of the court you're throwing the ball from. You know, if you look at the history and the facts of how it's occurred, everything was good until essentially that road got shifted. And being that we no longer have building records here, correct? They were lost in a fire.
Roads.
Pardon me?
The roads, the records on the roads were burnt.
And the home as well.
I don't know what they had. I wasn't around then, so I can't. All I can tell you,
we have
if
to
you go up to a
assume because
register of
there's no
deeds,
records on it,
there's
yeah.
there's no records
Correct.
there.
Between Vernon, Register of Deeds, Administration Building, 5 different departments, there's no records on anything. This, pretty much what you see is all you get here. That is their, you know, this is their paperwork concern, and that's pretty much it. And when I was out there, I met the DPW guy out there actually. And I had talked to him and we were discussing it, and I said, well, what do you think here? And he goes, well, where's the property end? And we looked at it, and, you know, according to plot map, stuff like that, he brought out his tape and stuff like that and measured, and he goes, honestly, he goes, this is unsafe.
Do you
And-
have stakes out there for your lot markers?
No. Now, I did talk to, pardon me, go ahead.
Huh?
I didn't hear.
How did he measure the lot if there's no lot markers?
Well, it's not even, I mean, if you give yourself, okay, when you talk to the GIS people who set up the plot map off on the overhead satellites you can access on the internet, you can drop a pin from the side of the house to the edge of the property line. That's within 2 to 3 feet of accuracy, totally. Now, at that point, it's 10 foot, so you give yourself 12. He was standing 15 feet past.
So you really don't know
No, well,
where your lot lines are.
no, actually, we do. And
Well,
I
if you're
gave
gonna sell the
variance.
house, don't you need a survey?
No, legally you don't.
But, so you're not gonna get one?
We will.
Is the buyer's lender willing to finance this property with no survey, considering the mess you've got there?
All he
Well,
wants,
if we get the easement, that remedies everything. The
That's
survey's
all-
up
that's
to the
all they
buyer.
want.
No, that's not my
anymore.
question. The way things sit right now, knowing you do not have a current survey, is that lender nuts enough to give a loan on it?
Well, we're going to have a survey done. We will. I mean, you can't say everybody here through their whole lifetime has ever bought a house and never had it surveyed, or sold a home as well and never had it surveyed.
But generally speaking, that's platted lots of records.
You gotta be nuts to buy someone on a survey and stakes.
The other
That is
question,
your opinion, and you have the right
Yes,
to that.
exactly. Because you run
But it's not the law, though,
you
is it?
run into these situations.
Actually, no, if we knew who the owner was of the cemetery, we wouldn't be running into this situation. So let's get back to that. Do you?
No,
own
let's
it or
get
no?
back to the survey, because
Because
I'm
that has nothing to do
I'm
with
not
our
gonna do
affairs.
anything till I know where your lot lines
That has
are.
nothing to do with our affairs. I came here to ask you, do you or do you not own the cemetery? And can you or can you not grant an easement on it? That's all I'm asking. Let's
And
get
I'm
back.
asking
We've gone
you,
way
if you
too
wanna
far
go
with
any
it.
farther, you need a survey that we can determine where your lot lines are to see what's going on out there. I'm not
Okay,
taking a
but
stab in
I
the
still
dark.
ask you,
I'm
though-
not taking a stab in the dark at anything that I don't know, that I can see that's not tangible.
That's fine if you don't want to issue the easement, but okay, let's go back to the subject matter then. Do you or do you not own the cemetery?
Do you have a,
It doesn't apply.
it doesn't
I'm asking you
apply.
a very specific question.
Do
Do you or
we
do you
own-
not own the cemetery? Does Vernon?
According to the paperwork, I don't see the research
Based on state statute.
based on the state statute. Are you willing to pay our attorney to research this?
Don't have to, because if you read the state statute, you're financially responsible for it.
Then I guess no, we don't own it.
Okay? Thank you.
That's
So you
okay.
can't grant an easement?
No, I'm not
Perfect.
granting nothing,
Thank you.
that's my opinion.
I'm done. Have a nice day.
Yeah.
I appreciate you guys' time.
So, all we
It's the only question
need,
that
all,
needed
that was all we needed to know. If you feel that you can't grant the easement and you don't own it, could you please put it in writing for us so we can move on?
who is, do you know who the previous owner was?
Yes.
Well, I'm
It was
missing
family.
a big part of this puzzle. The part is, if I have the issue you guys have, where do I go first? To the agent who sold me the property. Someone did not do their homework on square one.
It was
That's where
bought
you
from
start.
family.
That's where you
It was
start.
bought from family.
Somewhere there was non-disclosure. Someone knew there was an issue, did not disclose. You gotta go back to square one, who did not disclose and why?
Well, we did check that out. And we have not found anyone ever having this situation of the easement problem before. And really, I just want to make this simple. If you don't want to own it, I don't want to make you own it. I don't even want to make you responsible for it. I just want you to be able to, we just want to clear it, that you have stated that. That's all we want.
That we don't know if we own it or not?
Well, you just said you don't own it.
I don't know if we own it or not. I don't think we own it. But I don't know. There isn't enough research. There isn't a survey of your property. There isn't enough information.
How come the town doesn't?
The town
We,
is taxpayers, correct?
that's me
Exactly,
and them.
exactly. But the town can't survey your lot
But if
for
this-
you.
If they, no, I understand, but if if your lawyer, you just read, said that he would say, to say you don't own it. Isn't that what you read a few minutes ago?
He said,
One more time.
until it's determined that the town owns the cemetery land, he cannot recommend that we grant an easement. If it is determined that the town owns the cemetery land, then it becomes a policy decision whether the town is willing to grant the easement across the cemetery land. And I still go back to what I said, that in that 100 feet, there's no place to put a 20-foot driveway?
Well, that had to do with believe me, we would have done it. That would have been the easiest way to do it. The way I understand it is that the septic is the problem. And if you've been down there on that corner, if you move the driveway, it could be a blind driveway. And
If you
that
move
was
it
with
just a little bit, you can't see cars coming over the hill.
If you guys don't turn the corner, you can't even see nothing. Literally within like 3 weeks, it gets extremely dangerous.
What do you want to do, gentlemen?
Issue for the time being, I'd like to, if they're willing to pay for some review of this, I guess we'll give them the documentation, see if he thinks that's a legal document to the ownership. They gotta find out who owns it.
Maybe about it, determine what really needs to be done for the ownership, determine who owns it. You know, that driveway being there, an aerial photo since the early 60s, I wouldn't have a problem and granting an easement and making a policy decision at that time since it's been in existence for so long. But the question is, who owns the cemetery?
Yeah.
And we can't get that, grant that.
Well,
grant
but
that
we
without-
didn't want to argue who
Just
owned
being
the
sure on that.
cemetery. We wanted to argue, not argue.
We
We wanted to discuss whether you felt you could be granting us the easement. Nobody has cared about that for years upon years upon years.
It was also family owned.
Nobody,
all that land.
nobody is going to care about 2 feet that you drive to get into your driveway.
It's much more than 2
It's more than what we
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
We can't grant an easement without determining the ownership, because it could come back to bite us in the rear end.
And the part that really bothers me about this, I've read this about 6 times now, where it says, it describes the acreage and all this, as originally described in a quitclaim deed signed August 15th, 1881, and received for record on June 1900.
Yes.
There's no record back in 1881 as who owned that cemetery to give a quitclaim deed.
It states that it's somebody named Royal, I believe, Royal family, and then it went to an association. It was gifted to the association, and then after it was gifted to the association, it fell in disarray,
I believe
and then
it
it was
was
petitioned in the 70s.
That
Yeah.
was in
Dorothy
1900.
Dodge's
Pardon?
That's in 1900.
Yeah. This was
and
June
Royal was
22nd.
one of the years.
Crazy thing is, 2018, June 22nd, I was here looking at this document. It was very interesting. I was like, come on, 118 years later, somebody's doing it for, probably not the first time, but just a weird coincidence.
What if the septic were moved to leach field?
And we're already, okay, I'm gonna sound like just a whining woman, all right, for a few minutes, pardon me. We are ready. Family is going bankrupt, having to wait for this one thing. If we have to add a new leach bed onto it, that's gonna wreck 3 families economically that live in your town. And it seems to be so simple to, I don't care if you abdicate ownership of it, it just allows us then to move on. We have people that have accepted an offer on the house. These people have given an offer and it's been accepted. But they're not gonna wait for months and months and months and months. while we go through the legal stuff. And as I said, now my son is paying a double mortgage. And it's, you can imagine if it were you. You know, if it were your situation. And so if you were to say that you didn't have responsibility for it, we could then put it in the paper. And if no one comes forth, it can go through the courts, and in 7 weeks, we could have it settled up. And I just don't know how much more the three parts of this family can take with putting money into it. We redid the whole inside of the house. And so it's just simple people hurting. And we figured it would be easy to fix.
You sounded to me like you looked into moving the septic tank and the septic tank.
No,
I
we
know
haven't.
there's a cost and it's unfeasibility to do so. If that's the case,
It's not feasible money-wise for us. is
okay,
what I'm
money-wise,
saying.
but it's not, we were told just a while ago, it's not
Nobody's
feasible,
looked into
period.
it.
We
It's
have not
allowed.
looked into moving the leach bed at all.
I'm sorry, one more time.
We have not looked into moving the leach bed. The driveway has been there since '63. There's no reason to move it. And where it is now is the safest place on the property to have a driveway. You move it even 10, 15 feet down, you lose visibility of the people coming over that hill. That's the safest place for it to be.
John said something about that too.
Madam Clerk, is there a circle that's out there? There we can find corners on that side, on that east side.
You mean, not that I'm aware of. And the GIS system is not, that's nothing.
that accurate.
It's not illegal. Anybody that works in GIS will tell you that's not,
Actually, I spoke to them, they told me within 2 to 3 feet. It may not be legal to use as a survey.
it
but
isn't legal.
legal to reference within 2 or 3 feet.
Bill, do you know of anybody that would have a survey for that? Somewhere else?
I'm interested to hear that if we say we don't own it, what is the clerk gonna decide?
There, Sherry, I want to take it. This is their owner.
Sherry Lynn, I am the other owner of the house. What we would do, and I've talked to a lawyer already, is we go to a lawyer and they do a declaratory judgment. So we post a notice in the newspaper to the Dodges Corner Cemetery Association or anyone who had anything to do with that, and to anyone who was an owner. I mean, the last owner was Dorothy Dodge, who willed it to the Dodges Corner Cemetery Association. So those two things and any descendants of them. And if no one comes forward, then we go see a judge and they issue a judgment that says we can keep our easement where it is because no one has come forward to claim the property.
If you went to see a lawyer, why didn't you take this with you and ask him if he could validate that? This is the whole
I
document
gave
that
him
makes or breaks the
everything that
whole
we
thing.
had and he said you should go to the
That's
town
what you were asked to
first.
do the first
There's
time. Tom said.
multiple
And
that you guys have signed your name on.
Stop, Josh, just a minute. I talked to the lawyer and he said go to the town first and have them make a decision. Because that way, when we go forwards, if you say no, it's not ours, and we go forwards, then we're free and clear. If we try to go forwards and you say, wait, we want to own that cemetery, we're going to have more issues. So we want to clear this up first before we move forwards.
If we don't know definitely that we own that cemetery, we don't.
We give you rights.
This is
We
the
have no
only-
right to draft
This
any
is the
legal
only, I know
easement.
that.
That's what I said.
I don't want you to draft an easement unless you say you own it. I understand that. I'm not arguing that point. But this is the only documentation anyone has on this cemetery. There is nothing else. There is no owner on file anywhere. It was left by Dorothy Dodge in 1900 to the Dodges Corner Cemetery Association, and they disbanded. There is nothing after that. There is no current deed on the property.
We don't mind you saying you don't own it.
Yeah.
We just need to have something to give to the lawyer in writing saying you're not going to own it. And I know how legal things work, and it takes time, and time is the one thing that we don't have as real people.
Looking for something here that says we own it.
That says you do or don't.
Well, if they were to get a survey done, showing that their property, septic, where that lot line is,
Right.
you know, we can all see the paper, would we be willing to say,
Does that show who owns the cemetery?
well, to
We
say-
can't give a deviation on
I
something we don't know.
I'm thinking, we probably could say we own it based on what the state statutes is. Get Macy's opinion on that first. I'm not saying,
We could claim it, I guess.
Yeah,
And
we
then
could
we'd have to
claim
go
it.
through the court to
But-
get the registration done
but
for the
would,
cemetery.
would we be willing to grant them an easement with the survey?
I guess that's a
survey
big
map?
question.
You know, it's trying to say which is the best route for them to go. You know, so I'm trying to do
Well,
that.
I don't think they're gonna sell the property without a survey.
We're
What
not-
they're doing?
Not a property like that. If you're in a subdivision, plotted lots, the record, CSM's fine.
Yeah.
But I don't know the lender out there right now is gonna stick their neck out, I hope not, on a piece of land in the middle of nowhere
With no survey.
with no legal, legal.
Okay,
I think I'd rather be.
kind of resolved it for me.
I think
I'd rather
we
be
all
in control
agree.
Creating the
The
easement.
survey will happen before we sell the property.
Okay,
And that's one of the requirements
Yeah.
of the buyers.
Okay.
So, I mean, that's not a question. We are going to have a survey done.
I'd be happy to see the survey.
So what's the survey gonna do first, one more
Well,
time?
just show where the septic is, where the property line is, where the driveway exactly is, how many feet are going onto cemetery property. You know, so you actually.
Okay, so they do the survey and we say, yes, we give an easement for
But-
something we don't,
Well, we'd have to start working with, talk to Macy and say, okay, can we claim that?
yeah, that's the question.
Yeah.
We're gonna throw some money into this with Basie to find out if we own it.
That's what I thought during staff meeting, when we have them here.
Yeah,
When is that?
next week.
End of
The 30th,
Yeah.
30th.
The 30th, yeah.
That would be the easy way to, well, he's not gonna give you an answer at the staff meeting, he's gonna wanna research this.
That's
You know,
what I'm
it's gonna
saying,
be built, so
he's gonna want at
Sure.
least,
Huh?
he's gonna want at least some monetary gratuity for him doing something.
Well, we could just show him this and say, is that sufficient to say we own the cemetery? In a staff meeting, and see where it goes from there. Then we gotta decide, we should decide now, would we grant that easement if it was our property?
I have no problem with it.
I have no problem with it, this has been there since the sixties, it's not an aerial photo.
40s actually, and actually, so half of it was in there in 1873.
You know, but the other option is too, to say we don't own it, and then let the courts
Take it
write
away.
the easement up, and then are we gonna be rewriting that, saying,
Yeah,
all of a sudden we find out we do own it in the future, and we aren't assured of the stick in the easement?
Well, we can't not own it now and own it in the future.
Well, I'm saying if we don't, at this point, we don't know for sure.
I wouldn't make a decision without knowing for sure. I'm with Tom on that. We'd be foolish to sit here and make a decision, they can come back to bite us and them at the end. You know, the new property owner does this all based on the fact that we gave them permission. They come back and find out you were wrong, who are they gonna sue?
But yeah, see, we got two scenarios, they're dealing with two scenarios, it's like, which one do we want to encourage them to pursue?
Well, I understand they need to get some answers to sell this, and my suggestion is let's wait, present this to Macy, and see if he says that's a sufficient document to say we own the property. If he does, if he doesn't, then we gotta go with whatever he says, because I'm not gonna break the law just for, decision.
Oh, yeah, no, I'm not-
So, and I don't wanna put them in that position. So if he says yes, that pretty much determines we own the cemetery, well, based on our attorney. If he says I gotta, research it beyond that, what do we do?
How's he gonna research it? There's no record.
We can tell him there's no records, but he's gonna wanna you know Macy.
Yeah.
If he doesn't know what
You
this is.
should
he's
make
not
the
gonna
staff
find that.
meeting.
Can you wait till the staff meeting to let us
That
run
is,
that
August 30th is our staff meeting.
August 30th at 1.
It's at 1
Let
o'clock,
him know
1
if
o'clock.
he's gonna
1
proceed.
o'clock. Can you
With our
make
lawyer.
that staff meeting?
Yep,
Could we make it? Yeah.
we'll be there.
It's usually at 1 o'clock in the afternoon.
I'm talking point.
I can get time off to take care of it.
Yeah,
Yeah, 'cause we don't wanna say yes or no to a situation, we don't.
we can't give permission if we don't.
Right.
And that's
We're
kind of
not
what
allowed
our
to
main
give
understand
question
that.
was, you know, you
We're not
guys
trying to be hard nosed, but
state
we don't-
statute as ownership or no, either way was okay with us.
We could end up putting you in a worse situation than you're in right now,
Yeah.
and
Right,
we get sued.
right. I mean, we want it done right, we just.
Yeah.
Yeah, we want to allow
Okay.
we feel comfortable, so.
I think that's
the way to do it.
Is that acceptable, then?
Yeah,
That's good for me.
works for me.
Bill?
Any other information that you care for us to try to get together
If
by
we can
then?
find out anything.
What survey?
If there's anything else but this document,
See if we can screw it
Yeah,
together
at
quick.
least, if not the whole property, the east, where the boundaries are on,
East and
between
west.
the cemetery and your property.
Here's an
that
interesting
line.
fact about that. I did call and talk to a surveyor, and he goes, you know, when I was talking to him about this discussion, because back in 1900, they have a 5-degree inaccuracy or variance, and he goes, it must be an old property, obviously, what you're calling about. I said, yeah, I said, can you fill me in on that? He goes, well, you know, their tools were just that inaccurate back in the day, and he goes, well, how many feet are you in reference to? I said, well, essentially, the cemetery's property is a little over 300 feet, or give or take. He goes, that lays you out almost 30 feet, or I think it's 350, that lays you out almost 30 feet off by the time you're measuring it. So what the GIS, when they do enter it in the overhead plot maps these days, they just take the hard numbers that are there. And if you look at that, where the deed states the coordinates of the corners, that's what the GIS currently uses, so that when the bank pulled up and looked at the, overhead view of it, they're like, oh, well, the driveway's, 50 feet off of its own property, which is correct, at least by the overhead, GIS map. But after talking to the surveyor, he goes, yeah, don't get me wrong, he goes, it's probably off a bit, but he goes, realistically speaking, it could have been off, it could be off 30 feet right now, or it could be off 20 or 10.
did he
That there was
find
a
any
5-degree.
monuments out there to work from at all?
No, they are underneath, they should be underneath the road is what we were told.
Well, he could find them then.
Can he?
I would assume so.
Okay. Because I
If
know
he's a
the one
surveyor, he's
neighbor
supposed to
said
be able
they
to
had,
find
the one neighbor said they had to have new ones put in because they were gone after the road was torn up because the road was shifted about.
Okay, if the neighbor had
30
ones put in, he's got a mark.
Yes,
And he
it
can
would.
shoot all his azimuths from that mark and give you a survey. That's the best way for you to proceed in the meantime, so we end up with some
At least hard numbers.
definition
So
of property.
you need a 17-foot
You're
easement
gonna
or
need that
whatever.
anyways, because if it gets down to the document for the draft, for the easement, you gotta have something
We
to
need
go
the
off.
We gotta show something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Here's
And
what
that's the
easement
point
is.
I was trying to make. If we can get that line between the cemetery and your property, you may find out you don't need as much as you think you need.
Yeah.
Well, doesn't,
I think we've got a plan.
your neighbor
Okay.
to the south
We
say
do,
she
I
owned
think.
the access to the property that went all
That's
the
a
way
whole-
over?
That's a whole nother
I
issue.
know, so-
Yeah.
Don't go there, Jeff.
Go there.
Well, it just depends on what day I talk to.
Isn't that creepy?
So-
Creepy?
Yeah.
And it was weird because she originally had said that the house we're in reference to was there before, and looking at the overhead aerial photos of it, her house was in a picture in 1950. And then that house didn't appear till 63, that was the next picture taken, and we're putting the house in the mid-50s, late 50s as far as being built. So, there's a bit to be had there when it
So,
comes
okay,
to
so
stuff.
you'll need the survey map too to show her where the property line is.
Knock on wood, there'll never be a discussion about that with her, but.
Okay, that's what we will do.
May I thank you?
Aren't you guys
I understand what goes into this.
Yeah.
Good luck.
I'm trying to be no-
I
The
think
answer's
that
just
we
not
have-
easy, that's.
No, I know it's not
That's-
easy, but
that's easy.
we're working together, and
Oh,
that's,
Trying.
that's
Okay.
what we want. Thank you.
Thank you.
Lady, have a good evening.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Bye,
So,
Sherry.
How do we get a confirmation, or you just note it, or,
I put it already on the
Okay.
agenda,
okay, and we just should show up then and
1 o'clock.
Yep.
1 o'clock?
1 o'clock.
Okay.
Can we move that?
And then we'll kind of
Can we
move from
move
there.
that? If she's gotta go to, the lady there said that she had to take off of work.
Yeah,
Do you wanna go later on the agenda, that you could work longer and then come later,
no,
or?
I work right in Caldwell, so it's,
Well, do you wanna be
I'll just
first on the
remember.
agenda,
Sure.
and then you could go back to work
That'd be
after?
yeah.
All right, we'll move that agenda around and put you first.
Great, thank you.
Okay.
Good deal, guys.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
Yeah.
Now, we just need some more weird stuff to look at.
It's illegal non-conforming. It doesn't have the, right, oh.
Department of Administration response to Lucklow Lent annexation. I put this on here, guys, so you could vent or do or talk or whatever you wanted to do or say about this. Macy says the response is for your review. No action is contemplated at the meeting. If the village adopts an ordinance annexing the property, action needs to be taken by the town within 30 days.
Will we get notified, Karen, by Big Bend if they propose an act?
They're
Yeah,
suppo-
well, that's why I asked that. I'm not sure if we will or not.
They're supposed to, but it was on their agenda previously, an ordinance to adopt before the DOA even responded.
Okay, and they did not act
No,
on it?
I didn't get any notification from the clerk.
I asked Karen a question, I think it was very valid, that is, do they have to get board approval to go ahead with the annexation?
Yes.
She said yes.
The village board
We
has
got
to approve
Two or
it.
three people on that board that probably aren't gonna, at the time we're
Well,
working
I'm
with.
reading
Big
this
Bend,
here,
I don't
why
think-
would you go ahead when you know that they can
We're
do
trying to
it,
work
they
things
can
out.
do it, that won't stop them from doing it, but it's gonna give us better leverage
They can
if
snub
we fight it.
They can snub the administration.
Yeah,
They can go against it,
Oh, sure they can.
yeah,
but
they
then,
just voted down and it doesn't happen. Or they voted to pass and then we
well,
have
we
a
have to wait and see,
discussion about
we
the.
have to wait and see what they do, what the village does,
Well, that's,
Yeah.
before we make a decision.
but any of the public out there that wants to see this is a public document, so you'd be more than welcome to
Pass it along.
come in and get it, take a
Yeah.
read on it. It's pretty amusing what they say.
Yep.
Nobody's heard from Lucknow and Len, the reasons for wanting to annex, what they're hoping to gain.
No, I don't know what the reason, I think it has something to do with the road personally. The extension of the road.
They think they're gonna allow the extension, if they own that property, they're gonna block it.
I don't know.
No. But do we always get a copy of the agenda, Karen, from Big Bend?
No, we never get copies of the agenda.
They have to send us
So we'd have to ask Jeff or somebody to make
the
sure.
ordinance, they have to send us the ordinance.
He doesn't normally get it before the meeting either.
I could make an open records request if it does go on their agenda to have the clerk
Yeah.
notify.
That'd be a good idea, just to protect us for that 30-day window.
That's exactly
We'd
right.
like to see an agenda, if it goes on the agenda.
Well, they have to file, if they pass an ordinance, that ordinance has to be served to the town.
So we get a heads up
So we
on
get
that
30 days,
then?
we get 30 days when we
From
serve.
when they pass the ordinance, yeah.
For
No,
when it's
served.
served.
Okay.
Yeah, we won't have the problem of
Okay,
the
so,
clerk hiding that information from the board.
good. That's where I was
Like
going.
the previous clerk.
Yeah.
Okay.
Had to put that in there.
Yeah, that's quite all right.
You guys don't know who.
Yeah.
So any other comments on that?
Nope.
It's good reading, so I hope everybody out there, our constituents, get some of this. Can you put this
Sure can,
on the web
sure can.
so they could read it? I would
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
good idea.
No. Okay. when they don't have to come in, they can click on the, well, some of them may if they don't have. All right.
Sometimes it's easier to come in and try to find some of that stuff.
All right, EMS service, the village of Big Bend, I put that on there. I guess, you know, I had mentioned to some of the newly elected officials of Big Bend that when they first asked for that it may be easier to do the EMS first and then let that settle out and then let them decide what they wanted to do with their fire department. And I haven't approached them yet on it. I wanted to talk to you guys on it. What do you think about that?
We didn't give them a price for separating EMS program versus the total,
No,
so we'd have to create something. So
we would, but I thought I'd go, you know, talk to you guys if you want me to go back, or if one of you want to go back and talk to them. It's fine with me, and just bring that up to them, see what they think about it or whatever.
They've got the price, they've got the fire department price list, so there really isn't much to discuss there other than we provide the service, here's what the rates are, and I don't think we charge anything above that, but we,
I don't think so.
just the service being provided.
Just draw the contract.
Right. I'd have no problem offering that portion to them, just to add the safety factor in for all the people down there.
Well, that's really what, you know, if they want their own fire department, love their own fire department.
Yeah, if they want to.
That's fine.
Yeah, if it takes them more time to develop an answer,
Yeah.
which it apparently does.
But
they really
the
want big
biggest
numbers.
thing is
Yeah.
the medical attention for
Yeah.
heart attacks or
That
strokes.
to me is the most
or
important part,
whatever.
so, you know, all
When
you gotta do
when
is say
you're
yes to that,
Up the hill, you know.
yeah.
Yep.
I didn't wanna do anything without talking to
Fine.
you guys first, so.
You can ask.
If you want an official motion, I'd
That's in
make
our
the motion.
original contract, or they kind of, that fallen to the wayside now?
I haven't heard, it's been pretty quiet.
Yeah, so,
They're working on getting numbers together.
Yeah.
Could take a significant amount of time since the numbers are kind of.
I offered a couple of things the other day to, one of the members that's gonna run for the board that's working with Jeff, so. Gave him the closing numbers for the fire department.
You know, no matter how bad they badmouth us or whatever,
Let 'em.
they forget that it's not about their so-called fire department and their pancake breakfast and their Ripple by the river and that type of stuff. It's supposed to be about the people
Safety.
and safety.
Public safety, and
That's
we
what
go and tell them, this is
That's
what we're
what
offering.
befuddles me. Anybody that's got one of their signs in the yard that we support our fire department, that's good. But they also have a sign, we love high taxes,
Yeah,
right next to it.
and we like to risk, we don't mind risking our life, you know.
Yeah.
No, I,
We love
I
high
put
taxes.
I'm very much in favor of
Yeah.
giving me the EMS
Yeah,
agreement,
sure.
and see if that doesn't at least alleviate some of the time constraints that seem to.
So no one has a problem with me approaching
Nope.
the people I talked to on that?
Did I hear somewhere that they said they can run their fire department for $100,000? Is that?
It'll be 50, but, you know, just,
Gee, it's still more expensive than the 77 they were paying when we were joined.
Yeah, that's true. But if they can run for $100,000, we need to get somebody like that over here to show us how they can do it. You know,
they're, to what I understand, they're
really
trying to
wonderful
unwrap.
figures, huh?
They're trying to unwrap. Jamie gave an idea of where the 3 million went from, and they're looking for where the other 2 came from.
Yeah.
And I think they're gonna get tanked up in the fire department when they start looking at that, because they borrowed close to, $400,000 to open the fire department with the equipment they bought.
Have they paid that already?
About
They paid that already?
They gave us a check that day.
Oh, okay.
I gotta be careful that the agenda item is EMS.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Okay.
Yeah, that's
Village
well.
finance.
All right.
But I know where you're coming from, Ed.
Yeah,
Because you and I took a check to the bank.
yeah, we walked it over for
Make sure it didn't bounce.
cha-ching.
All right, so then, I will do that. Okay, F, site plan of operation for Phil Cullen and Cullen Builders for the property located at Oakdale.
I like that. I got confused reading this about the parking issues. Is there a parking issue?
No.
No,
They did.
employees and stuff.
Supervisor Jeff Millies chaired that meeting, and they went over Supervisor Bill Craig chaired that meeting, and they went over, oh my gosh, the site plan, all the
Oh, yeah, I didn't
parking,
know
the
you were there
dumpsters.
parking.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's an aerial photo and there's plenty of parking around the building.
So Bill,
Yeah, I
you
know
want
the
to just
building.
reiterate what was going on there and then make a motion or not a motion or whatever? Do you want to just take the lead on that? 'Cause I wasn't there at that meeting.
Yeah, I feel comfortable. I think they'd be a real asset to the town. I would make a motion that we concur with our planner's recommendation to approve their plan of operations site plan. They're not really changing anything on the site. And as Karen was just saying, the parking is more than adequate. I drove into the parking lot last week and looked around a little bit. So the only issue that came up, and it really is not, we won't be able to resolve it, is it is open to vision from east.
Inside, yeah.
You'd have to spend a ton of money to treat that
Screening and
environment. Yeah, which I think would
So we gotta give them,
That's a commercial property.
be, yeah. So I would say, considering what we had there, we had a good neighbor in the millwork. I think this, from what I can see, would also be a good working relation with the town.
you made a motion? I'll
He did.
second it. Keep-
Yep.
Any more discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Amend site plan of operation for Vernon Fire Department.
Here's Bill again.
Woodland, this would be you again, Bill.
Well, again, I don't see any issue with what was presented here. I would concur again with the planner's recommendation, subject to the conditions he's got in there.
I didn't say anything about me being invited to a barbecue. I'll second your motion.
We only know when stuff is burnt yet.
I'm sorry?
We only know when stuff is burnt.
Oh, yeah. Well, this one, it says they gotta watch out for smoke here, you know? Better check their burning permit.
Do they need one? Any more discussion?
No.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Credit agreement for Lakeside International LLC.
I think this is just an update according to what I read, to update our current credit information.
And as the new policy is, anytime there is any request for any credit, all those forms
to the
must
board.
go to the town board.
Okay.
So that's why it's here. Even if it's an update or an addendum, it doesn't matter. Anytime there's a
This isn't
request,
anything new.
right,
Okay, I make a motion to,
authorize the town chair.
authorize, town chairman to sign the current update for Lakeside International, which is a business account for the DPW department.
I'll second.
Discussion? No discussion? No. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Set the date for discussing of change to the Town of Vernon zoning code.
Oh, we had that.
No.
No, it has to go to the board.
Oh.
I just wanted you to know the dates that the attorney and the planner, not the attorney, the planner and the building inspector could make September 6th.
That's a town board meeting day, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Shouldn't be a problem.
No.
What time would that be, Madam Clerk?
They were thinking like
2
2 or 2:30, whatever worked for you guys.
You go straight to the town board meeting then?
You think it'll take that long for the,
They said about an hour tops.
about an hour?
2 to 3, that's
Yeah.
Yeah.
what we're looking at.
I was worried it's gonna go that longer.
Funny thing.
We could move the town board up early, whatever, but everybody do that, make that. I mean, we could go from there right into,
Town board meeting.
and we could agendize that to say when complete, the town board would
Immediately start the formal board
Yeah.
meeting.
start the formal board meeting.
Save us all trip back.
Yeah, that way we don't have to go home, come back and back and forth. It'll be a little more efficient.
I have no problem, depending on when it ends. I gotta eat scheduled time, so.
Well, I could do a lunch.
I
Or we could bring in Sammy.
I could do a lunch.
I'll bring you,
I can
I'll
bring
bring you a
some.
pocket of candy.
That would
Chocolate
be great.
Brown
bars.
bag it. Yeah, that's fine. That's fine with me.
Why don't we do that?
Okay.
I'll make a note of that, Madam
I
Clerk.
will do, sir.
So we're gonna move that to about 3 o'clock then, or just continuing whenever it's
So
up?
why don't we continuing, continuous, tentative, probably it'll be more than an hour, but I don't think it'll be more than an hour and a half.
Yeah.
If we get bogged down on something, we'll move it along
Yeah.
somehow.
So
It'll
we
get
s-
pretty dry.
We're starting at 5 or 6 now.
2.
Oh, we are leaving at 2.
We're starting at 2, and then
Starting
running
at
the
2,
meeting right
Okay.
behind.
and then following
Okay.
that meeting, we're gonna go right into town board.
Town board meeting.
Okay.
Which may, yeah, okay.
That'll work.
Yeah. Because if we have any issues with the cemetery, then,
You keep it 30
you know, I mean, if, you know, we go from the staff meeting on the 30th, if we have any issues with, and we can do something, if Macy
Yeah.
will be there, he may be at the town board meeting, we can put that issue first and
Yeah, get it resolved.
deal with that then there too. If we got
Do we
it,
make sure we got an agenda item on there then for the board meeting?
if we need it, yeah.
Continuing discussion on that? if necessary?
Yeah, if we need it. Right, Madam Clerk?
Sure. Absolutely. Whatever you want.
Okay.
She has no idea what you just said, but you're right.
No, I.
Oh, she got it. I could see the twitch on her eye. Bartender's license for Katie Sutton.
Mr. Chairman, board members, everything is in order with this license. All fees have been paid. The compliance in regards to the server status has been, it's fully ready for your approval.
I'll make a motion to do the bartender license for Caitlin Sutton.
Second?
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it.
That's short.
Yeah, I couldn't believe it.
Fall newsletter approval?
If any board members have, it wasn't proofed before it went to the board, so if you have any changes or things you want to update or not update, or, Eddie, I'm going to get yours afterwards.
Yeah, nothing beyond what I talked about earlier. You found that though?
No, I didn't, it's been
Oh, well.
a zoo.
You want this one? I got it highlighted.
Okay, yay! Oh, I'll get it after the meeting, Eddie.
Thank you for
I
using-
thought that was a nice article
Yeah, but-
for Ron.
Ron.
Yeah, very nice article.
Very nice article.
I like that picture of him too.
Yeah, it's a great
Okay.
picture of
Well,
Is his family right there?
we took it from the obituary.
The
That's what we try to do is,
Yeah, very nice.
and, talk about what that person's done in our community.
So good.
All right. Is there anything to supervisor would like to add to that?
Look good to me.
Yep.
So is there a motion?
Make motion to approve the newsletter for the fall edition for the town of Vernon.
I'll second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Budget workshops. That's just actual, that's
28th.
gonna be staying on there for a while.
And Mr. Chairman, is it okay as the budgets come in, it's being forwarded to the board, just so as they come in?
Put them in our mailbox.
Yep.
Yep.
Are we gonna have a booklet again?
Oh, yeah,
Make a
yeah.
booklet up?
Oh, yep. I just ordered all the implements that go in there, and we'll make you a full.
Okay. So this is gonna be the 28th, correct?
That is correct.
At
28th of...
August is the first one, at 1 o'clock?
28th.
I don't know which month. 28th of this month?
At 1 o'clock.
1 o'clock?
John and I are going, it's a Tuesday,
Oh,
and then,
good day.
How out of me,
You guys see the fire department request?
Yeah, geez. He tried to, yeah. That the only thing missing was the moon.
We should see if David wants to buy that truck yet, see if it keep rolling along.
All right, correspondence. I have something here from the Waukesha County Center for Growth, from Director Tim Casey, and the Waukesha County is leading the way on this. It's a bunch of stuff that workforce development strategies. I'll pass that around. You guys can peruse that. If you want copies of it, ask Madam Clerk to make them for you. And that's all I have for correspondence. I have no report. So, Jeff?
No report, only correspondence I had. One of the neighbors of the VAC expressed her opinion. She hates to see it being burned down and once trees planted.
I had 3 contacts with residents, one regarding to roosters, which is being addressed by a letter. Second request came in today by a resident wondering why we're not fixing Big Bend Road from Millbrook Circle to Skyline, and I indicated to the individual that they need to contact the village of Big Bend. He said he did, and the village told him there was no money in the budget for them to fix the road. After that, then I recommended to the gentleman to call the Department of Transportation and complain and see what they could do about it, you know, because the road is a disaster and it's being basically destroyed by the heavy trucking coming from DeLuca, which is in Big Bend. So, but I'm not the only one that travels that road. There's a ton of people travel that road, and I'm sure when you have a 35-mile-an-hour speed limit and you have to do 10 miles an hour up the road, it causes some serious hardships for people to realize that. And I don't know why you would want to speed on a road because it's in such bad shape. But Big Bend Police Department sits down there by the old pond.
Yeah.
To monitor the traffic. Well, you're never going to catch anybody there because anybody speeds on that road, you're going to wreck your car. So
He's doing it in the dark now, too.
yeah, well, okay, that's doing stuff. I don't know, but anyway, the other comment was from. Now I lost my train of thought. I went off the track. Can't be too important for
Roosters, roads, and...
Pardon?
You were on Roosters
Roads, yeah. And there was one other contact that I had, but I can't think of it offhand. I may have to come back.
Oh, Norris?
Pardon? Oh, Norris, yeah, correct. Thanks, Karen. I got contacted by the director from Norris Farm, and she wanted to know what was happening in regard to getting on the agenda, and I talked to Karen, and Karen had I think there was some miscommunication amongst their own people. As Karen indicated that she talked to somebody and said it'd be a month or so before they'd be ready. Well, this lady was ready to come tonight, but I put a phone call into her, and she is going to probably call me back, and we will see her here probably for a short presentation of 10 minutes or so in regard to what is going on at Norris at the present time. So,
Do they still make stuff there for sale and that type of thing?
I don't know. See, these are all the kind of questions that we wanted to have her come here, and they're doing some kind of new foster parent program too, that she wanted to publicize. So we'll have to wait, and then that was her whole intention, was that we could question her about what's happening over at Norris. You know, since it's a significant part of our community, you know, it'd be nice to keep in touch and go what's going on over there too. You know, so that was my three contacts, my three things that I had going.
Okay. Thank you. Eddie?
I read something on EMS being ready to come pretty soon. Have we got a date, do you know, for that?
No, the email was that he's on vacation this week.
Okay.
He'll be back on the 20th.
Yeah, no, that's it for now, thanks.
Okay. Bill?
I just had one comment or question regarding the letter from Mr. Scafidi with the photo attached. I do have to say that photo shows probably less than 25% of the wood on the property. So that's along the west border. So anyway, just more of a question. Where are we at as far as working with the county on that, Madam Clerk, as far as the zoning issue?
It's going to be on the September 12th Plan Commission meeting. Plan Commission already made the recommendation to approve. The town board requested a meeting with the DNR, which is scheduled for the September.
058. Okay, I'd like to approve batch 201800816 in the amount of $54,058.
Got it.
050.
54005.80.
Whatever that number is.
I got it.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Manual checks, there are none, are there, Madam Clerk?
There are none, sir.
ACH transaction?
Make a motion to approve the ACH transactions in the amount of $96,857.07.
I'll second it.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. July accounts receivable aging.
Yeah.
Let's see, you said that the Village of Big Bend did
Yes.
pay that 509?
Yep.
Okay, so that will come off of there. That's good.
I've never seen it this small.
This is pretty small.
We don't need to approve that, do we?
No, I just want to have it in your packet so you review it.
You guys can see what,
Yeah.
what we're
What's out there,
talking about.
Danny?
What's coming up. It's getting old. July 18 financial statements, any comments?
Like the balance sheet, so.
Yeah.
No comments?
No comment.
Okay. Minutes, approval of minutes. Approval of the minutes for August 2nd, 2008.
I'll approve the minutes from August 2nd, 2018, with no changes.
Second.
Yay! Sorry.
There's a win.
I wasn't gonna skip my neck on.
I was waiting for
Those kind of corrections.
It didn't. That darn fly.
Yeah.
All those in favor?
I abstained.
Opposed?
I abstained. I was missing.
You're MIA.
I was in Iowa.
MIA in Iowa.
Yep.
Next meeting date would be, town board, September 6th, 2018, 6 PM.
Well, that might change.
It may. Public comments? Are there any public comments? No public comments? Eddie?
No, I'm fine. I'm gonna ask her something when we're done.
Okay. Adjournment.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it.
Karen,
let's
Mike,
see.
who's coming together on, your budget, the DPW and Mike?
Just,
Packer game.
the first one
Yeah,
is
it's not
John and
really-
I.
It's not rated.
Where does Mike
You
come
gonna
in?
go run?
In September
You're not
with
there again?
Alex, the
Oh,
next
those
Tuesday.
not rated.
Alex, okay.
Is it supposed to?
I was hoping.
Yeah, it's not gonna
We could
rain.
use some rain.
Thanks, Joe.
Right.
My grapes are getting really ripe. My grapes.
Really?
Yeah.
Ready to pop?
The red ones are really ripe. I mean, I think this
So they
weekend I'm
recovered,
gonna
last year was
get-
rough, right? So this year they recovered?
Yeah.
Big time?